Hey, what's poppin', guys? It's your boy DaneJahYT, and I apologize for not posting a lot of content in the past couple of weeks, but my grandmother is currently in the hospital, and I had to deal with a bunch of other issues going on in my life at the same time. So, sorry for the inconvenience, but as you know, this is a channel purely based on the love of anime and the love of One Piece. So it's not to prioritize making money or to keep up with the other anime reactors, because I have a bunch of content, but I have to put it out how I like it. And I've been seeing a lot of comments stating that people don't really like how it sounds forced or whatever, but it's okay. So let's get into today's theory. And for those that want me to get right into it, I'm sorry, but for every video I have scripts and I have like topics I gotta speak about. If you are mad that I'm not really getting straight into the topic, you could just scroll through the video and wait till you get to the part where you want to get to. But today we're gonna talk about Rocks the Xebec and the Rocks pirates returning in the One Piece verse, okay? Now, not much is really known about Rocks the Xebec apart from the fact that he assembled a crew with some of the strongest individuals in the world based on a pirate game, and we saw this pirate game when Luffy played against Foxy. And we're talking about the daily back fight in which you can challenge other crews in order to get crewmates from their crew, with ideally just winning a pirate game. And based on the shady tactics that Foxy used, it also means that this is a game that has no rule and anything goes as it pertains to rules, because we know pirates do not play fair. Based on how the Rocks pirates spoke about Rocks, and being that they had to have Roger and Garp team up along with celestial dragons like Figurlin Garland to take down his crew, then it means Rocks was absolutely a formidable opponent. So based on the information that we do know about Rocks, such as Kaido considering him one of the only people that can fight him, and the fact that Roger and Garp had to team up, then ideally at this point I believe it's safe to assume that Rocks was potentially one of the top 10 strongest characters in One Piece. And I say this with confidence because when you take into consideration how strong Garp is by himself, how strong Roger is by himself, then that means Rocks was a beast. Now, essentially, I'm making this theory because I have to speak about Rocks returning in One Piece, and I believe that that is absolutely gonna happen. And there are two reasons why I'm saying this, right? Or maybe three. Now, the first reason I believe that Rocks will return is because of the way that Oda is writing the story. Why would Oda just cast this shadow or mystery around Rocks if he's dead and it doesn't really matter? All he has to do is show his face and speak about him as if he was an old legend, and it would not really be an issue. But he's just making everything mysterious because even till this point he's barely shown his face fully. Now, the second reason is because Rocks has become popular among the fan base, and being that Oda has written Rocks as one of the strongest characters in the story and most intriguing character in the story, then it would only make sense for Oda to bring him back and display his strength and his abilities and show as to why he was so powerful. And being that his fans already love this mysterious legend that we don't know anything about, then it would be beneficial to bring Rocks back in the story, as Oda would also make a lot of money from this character coming in the story, because people now would want to buy his character merch like the video games, you know, stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, Oda is human and he needs to make money, you know what I mean? Like, even though he's making so much money, why wouldn't he want to make more when he has to pay people to draw for him? He has to pay people to animate his story and all types of stuff we don't know about, but he knows, and he's the one that's dealing with the expenses. Now, I know I'm gonna get some type of backlash because a lot of people are gonna say, oh no, Rox is dead, he's not alive, and we know this because the government confirmed it, Sengoku confirmed it, and stuff like this. But ideally, we don't really know if he's dead based on the story. And as much as it seems impossible, I actually believe it's very possible, because look at how many times Oda has played with death in his story. Even look at the most recent incident where Imu destroyed Lelouchia and Sabo was on the island and Sabo survived, and we can say it's because of Sabo's devil fruit or whatever, but ideally it's like, do you think Kaido and Big Mom is also dead? Because I don't. And ideally, Kaido and Big Mom are also gonna return in the story, and they will return with Rox as his commanders. And I know many people are gonna say this is not possible, but for me it makes too much sense ideally, because when you look at it, they had the strongest crew back then, and I'm not gonna say Roger is not strong, but Roger had to team up with his arch nemesis to defeat Rox, you feel me? And then the crew by itself had to be defeated by other people or other factions, such as Figurlin Garland fighting against Whitebeard and stuff like that. But you know, it makes too much sense because back then they didn't work together, so now this can be a way how Oda could make them work together and get things done, because now they actually have formidable crews they have to fight, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, like I said, they were the strongest crew, so that's why they didn't really work together or team up, because it was like they were too strong. Like sometimes you don't even need the entire crew to get the job done, you probably could just send one person. So if you watched my previous video where I was speaking about Cross Guild, then you would hear me mention that Weevil will not join Cross Guild, and I simply believe it's because he's gonna try to follow in the footsteps of his father. And what would be the best thing for him to do? It is to join this crew, you know what I mean? So ideally, we don't really know much about him. We don't really have enough for us to really determine what type of person he is based on his personality and his traits. So I just ideally believe he'll go here to this crew and he'll become the third commander of the Rocks Pirate as a replacement for Whitebeard, which leads to Big Mom, Kaido, and Weevil being the three commanders for the Rocks Pirates under him. And ideally, we've seen Big Mom and Kaido work together in Wano to try to fight the supernovas, so maybe we'll see more combination attacks from those two, being that they're original Rock Pirate members. And Weevil, we'll get to see his strength in the final battle as well, because I only believe Rox will only come in the final battle where he believes he's the best, or he wants to take over the world and fight the government. Or let's say hypothetically it's a fight or a battle, better yet, where we have the pirates against the world government, which, you know, I believe Blackbeard is gonna be on the side of the world government, because I just believe Blackbeard is just an evil guy. So ideally that would make a lot of sense to me if Blackbeard goes up there and make the deal like I said in my previous video. So it would be a battle of the D pirates against like the world government and Imu, the Gorosei, and people of that nature. And like I said, I have a matchup for all of the Gorosei members already. You can see it in my polls. So if you want to see who's gonna fight who, you can watch those. I mean, you could go check that out and then you'll find out what's going on with that. But we have to speak a little bit more about Rox and a little bit about his history and the pirate he was named after and so forth, so we could try to get some more context clues about him, and so we can have a little bit more discourse. So according to the wiki, Rox was named after a pirate known as Roche Brasiliano, that disappeared in 1671. He was a Dutch pirate from some town called Groningen. His piratical career lasted from 1654 until his disappearance. So he disappeared. They didn't know what happened after that. Right, we could get into that a little bit more because I think there's a little bit more about that. And he was first made famous in 1678 because of a book called The Buccaneers of America. They're said to not really know his true name, but historians have argued his probable real name was Gerrit Gerritsoen, and that his parents had moved to Dutch Brazil. He's known as Roche Brasiliano, which in English translates to Rock the Brazilian. So furthermore, it says that he was a cruel buccaneer who operated out of Port Royal, Jamaica. He was a privateer in Bahia, Brazil, before moving to Port Royal in 1654, where he started his pirate career. He led a mutiny and adopted a life of a buccaneer. On his first adventure, he captured a ship of immense value and brought it back safely to Jamaica. He eventually was caught and sent to Spain, but he escaped with threats of vengeance from his followers. He soon resumed his criminal career, purchasing a new ship from a fellow pirate, Francois Olanai, and later sailing in the company of Sir Henry Morgan and Joseph Bradley, among others. Brasiliano's first mate, Yellows, eventually became a captain on his own right, sailing with Brasiliano Morgan and others in raids against the Spanish. Though, based on what I'm getting, they stole a ship from the Spanish captured him, and he just waged war against them. So let's get to the rest of it. Drunken and debauched, Brasiliano would threaten to shoot anybody who did not drink with him. He roasted alive 2 Spanish farmers on wooden spits after they refused to hand over their pigs. He treated his Spanish prisoners barbarously, typically cutting off their limbs and roasting them alive over a fire. The Spaniards feared him so much the Spanish mothers used his name as a hush word for their children. So basically, after he stole that ship that probably contained gold or something of that nature, and then brought it back to Jamaica, they captured him, brought him back to Spain, imprisoned him, and then after that he just waged war with all of his followers and his fellow pirates, and that's how they began to hate him. So he was basically an outlaw, and an outlaw with influence. And in conclusion, after 1671, Brasiliano was never seen or heard from again. To this day, nobody knows what became of the Dutch pirate, whether he and his vessel and men were lost at sea in a brutal storm, was secretly captured, or possibly retired and lived the rest of his life in anonymity is a matter of debate. So based on the dialogue that I'm seeing right here with how this guy's life turned out, he was a notorious pirate, and he was somebody that was like very powerful based on the amount of people that followed and respected him. And he had very powerful other pirates that used to ally with him just to get things done. It seemed to me like he probably dipped and then like he formed a new life somewhere else where nobody would really find him. Because it's like back in those days, it's hard for you to really keep track of people. It's not like now with technology and stuff like that. So it's like you had to post wanted posters and stuff like that. And, you know, basically Spain is the one that really wanted to get him. It was like the rest of the world is really a free-for-all because they don't really care about him that much, or they don't really hate him that much because he didn't steal anything from them. So based on what's going on, or how this guy's history played out, I do strongly believe that Rocks will return, just based on how this pirate's life turned out. Because I believe Oda be writing his story because he secretly wants people to know the true history of the world. People like this, people that used to like fight against the Spain, the Spanish, or like England, you know, stuff like that. Because a lot of the pirates that are in the story, they're actually written based on real life events or real life people. But you know, it's an anime, so he has the ability to spin it however he wants it just to entertain the crowd. But ideally, a lot of stuff in Oda's story makes a lot of sense. Even the Grand Line, like I found out the true history about that, and that's why I'm gonna make a theory that's like a hour-long theory that really breaks down what Oda's trying to do with One Piece. other than just entertain and create like an anime. You know what I mean? But peace. Shout out to y'all. Sorry about the delay. I got better videos and better quality. I got to spend more time to edit now and all that stuff. So I'm going to make videos, but it's not going to be like every day or stuff like that. I'm just going to drop them when I'm finished. So y'all be easy. Peace. And no, I'm out.